We are back in the crypto market. Crypto market has not moved up much. It's still at $1.1 trillion. Remember what we talked? It is changing hands. What? Money is coming into separate assets and moving into another group. So we are still here consolidating to look for the next run up. So right now Bitcoin is showing you that it is slowly coming back to the downside where the bottom is like $23,000. Remember, a month back we were close to 16,000. This is early Jan. So right now, after 30 days, when we say like, okay, Bitcoin was close to 16,000, right now it is at 23. That's $6,000 above that price point. So what are we looking at? We are literally looking at something which is super important right now. You need to actually give a thought about this. Now you're sitting there looking at the RSI and ask this question to yourself. Last time when the RSI was this high, where was the price? It is really important. You are looking at this price point and the RSI and you're like, okay, when RSI came up here, last time we were at this point, which shows you a massive run up from where it was a month before. So now the recent supply demand for that level or close to that gives you a highlight like, okay, we have a long way to go to the upside. Now we've been going through a lot of different assets in the market, looking through the digest. And one thing which is clear is what we saw in RSI a month before, and it suggested that it was breaking through this range. Just worked out, right? This was a range inside which that was congested, and then what happened? It broke higher. So eventually your target was at this level, which is here. Now you're already halfway through. So the RSI did give you a highlight about where we are headed. So right now on the Bitcoin side of this, you are looking at this and saying like, okay, there is a big possibility that the price can come and test this level of support. But yes, we are still here. We are consolidating on a 3-day chart. Keep this in mind. The price of Bitcoin is 25% above this moving average. So if you are here looking at the history, what we have to understand is last time when you were close to 22% up, when you were just starting the bull market run, before the FOMO entered, it was something like this. You had a correction, you came back to the moving average, then you continued the rally. So what's next for us? Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Right now, we are getting different narrative from different central banks, and we understand the market is trying to make sense of this. We saw Fed is kind of, getting that peak level. They are now doing 25 BPS, whereas they were doing like 75 and 50. Now they are slowing down. They don't have too much room. But the inflation is still there, and central banks are highlighting that they are going to act on it. And right now we are observing that the dollar is slowly coming back up. But remember, the recent low which it took out was this. So if you clear all this and you are looking at the technical side of the recent break to the downside, which is like the first level is this. So you are right now above that. And the major level in this time horizon is here. So for dollar going up, yeah, that makes sense. Any assets denominated in dollars should slow down. And that's what we are observing here in the crypto market. But it's not only about that, right? Say, here we are looking at XRP for that matter. We understand we are not breaking higher. We are still here. A lot of us are getting irritated. Agreed. But this is an asset with the level of fundamentals, which is like, going through the network everywhere, reaching to the next direction, right? It has the ability to reach a lot of different areas in our payment world. We understand that the level of fundamentals is so strong. But what's important right now is how the market is responding. Is the market looking at this asset positively? Is the market bringing new money in to buy this asset? Because that's going to be something important if you are looking at any short-term fluctuation. Now, technically speaking, this is a bull flag, we expect a move higher, right? So we step back on a 12-hour chart to see what the RSI suggests us. And the RSI is actually showing you, yeah, I agree with the bull flag pattern. I'm still inside that pattern. We are not breaking to the downside. So it gives you a little bit confidence. Then you're looking at the MACD, and the MACD actually suggests like, yeah, I can cross back to the upside. So short-term narrative is not that bad. But what we have seen in the market is like, okay, these assets actually show you something and they do it. So you don't need too much volume to push that asset to the upside. And you're literally looking at these like, from the recent time when Bitcoin just moved up from that level, 16,000 to 23, these assets actually went crazy. They did like 200, 300% in different assets. We have a set of different assets which are actually running like this. So when you are looking at these and asking that macro question like, okay, what am I observing in this market? There's a lot of different set of assets which have different correlations with the market, showing you different things, right? Some of them like Phantom has already started running up, broke through the accumulation range. Here's another one. It is trying to give you a pattern of double bottom and slowly trying to break through the upside. This one right now is close to the moving average. So we can say like, okay, it still has some room to the upside. That's on a weekly. And on a 3-day, you're like, okay, you went up, you came back, retested, and you're bouncing. So these are something, if you are in the market and you're trying to look for short-term gains, this is going to be something of your interest. Now, if it's XRP, most likely you're not looking for these short-term moves. What you're interested in is a macro move because you have already accumulated the asset, the price, your price point basis, which can be like 0.2 to 0.3. Right now it's 0.4. And you're like, okay, I'm done now, bought enough. Then that's good. That's great. What we are waiting for is that bull flag on the short term to break to the upside. On the other side, the Bitcoin dominance to come back to the downside. Because if we see a break in Bitcoin dominance here to the downside, remember, altcoins are going to run high. If you actually take a step in, zoom into that, and look at what Bitcoin dominance is showing us right now, it's kind of actually creating a pattern which is similar for a lot of us, which actually initially showed you like, okay, that's a channel which is trending to the upside. It usually breaks to the downside. We got that break to the downside. Fine. Now we are looking for that to continue to the downside. So where's your support? You are looking for something. Now, if it's still trending higher, you're looking for that to reach here because it also happens to be the previous resistance here and the current level of support when we come back. Now, if we don't hold that level, the good news for altcoins is that if that Bitcoin dominance come back here, it's going to be great. You're going to see a lot of these coins moving. Now, which coin will move? It's completely dependent on the market. We are watching that the market is running into some assets. The volume goes from, $30-40 million trading volume to 200-300. And in a couple of days, it come back down. So people are running into some assets. They are actually running up and then they drop back. So don't go into an asset where, the trading volume is like this. You get stuck. You need to understand if you're putting $1 there, it's fine. But most of us don't do that, right? So when you're looking at all these opportunities right now, look at this. We actually had a call on Block. It was like yesterday. And what's happening there right now? It's 40% up today. So when you are looking at all these opportunities in the market and you're looking for the breakouts, it's going to be important, right? So that's why you are not focusing too much on XRP when you're trying to trade the market. So it becomes more than necessary to understand what the market is showing us. Because on the other side, you see a lot of different assets becoming volatile. Now, doing a 30% today doesn't mean it's been like, like this for some time. What's interesting now is that, yes, you see the price bouncing, but look at this. This is one of the reasons why I always use RSI and highlight that factor. RSI was up here, right? Showing you that it is breaking through the levels which is not seen till this level, which means you have upside. So if you were looking at this particular scenario now, you understood like, okay, yes, this was the signal showing you we are going to run up to this level. And right now you're getting big candle. Fine. Now you understand that there is something happening in that market for that asset. Now you have to actually look at a lot of these meme coins. They are starting to look like this. Some of these are already above the moving average, came back, retested that, and now bouncing back up. Some actually shows like the MACD is turning bullish and on a 3-day chart. So that's important to note. And when you're looking at other set of coins, which are like, say, again, meme coin, but you're looking at what the indicators which are suggesting you. Indicator actually suggested that it is moving up. Fine. And it's at a level which is not seen for like last 1 year. So the strength is now at a higher level. Last time this happened, the price went parabolic. Fine. Now you go to a different segment, which is more like, say, AI, right? You're literally observing AI, metaverse, gaming, that kind of things getting volume. Now look at this one. Here, it actually shows you like the RSI reached this point, showing you I'm now at a pace where the strength of the buyer is much more than what you have seen in last 1 year, 1.5 year. Great. Now you're looking for what price point where that asset at that time. Say you're looking for something here, which is big. Okay, fine. Then what happened? The price followed through. It actually went up. Now, if you are seeing that the RSI suggests something else with another target, you'll have correction, buying points, all of that. Agreed. But understand this, when the price is at that level, a resistance showing you, okay, I'm getting resisted, and the RSI showing you, no, I'm passing through, breaking through. Now, that's a positive signal. So you need to understand, how many assets you have. If you have 10, what percent of them are showing you this or already moving higher? If you have like Fetch, Gala, Ocean, they are already moving up, right? The AIs, the gaming, the metaverse. And if you're looking at the other side, we have XRP, XLM, the blue chip fundamental tokens, which are not moving yet. So it is important for you to actually look and understand whether now, SHIB has not yet moved up. Agreed. But the RSI suggests like it can actually move. So if this is what's going to happen there, or this is what's going to happen. Most of these assets showed you something and they did that in terms of price action. So if this is what we are observing in the market, now you have a higher odds in that particular asset to do well as well, right? So if you have a big portfolio with a lot of different assets, make sure you have that time. Take your time, go through each asset, look at this. If it's showing you are moving up, great. In the next 3 months, you are going to have different targets at which you are going to take your profits. We are literally doing that in the one-on-one sessions, going through the assets one by one, looking at different people's portfolio, looking at what we can have, what's the possibility. Now, these are like the discussions where you are like, okay, sharing ideas, where you actually understand like, okay, this actually shows a massive resistance. So, it's doubtful that it's going to go up. Whereas the other segment is like, okay, now I think 40% of your portfolio is going to have a big run up, right? That's just my thought process. I can be wrong, but the market is showing you these points, which is like facts, right? It just happened. It's the recent history. So if you learn from that, it can be really helpful for the next 3 to 4, 5 months. As we see the central banks doing their thing, they went up in the rates. Now they're slowing down at the top. They have to slow down, pause, or start cutting rates. And that's going to happen if the market actually starts dropping. You will see those coming in. Say, even if you're actually looking at big coins, or in this case, it's more like really, you're looking at a company which had a lot of push, and right now you see in a lot of different countries it's mandated to take these shots. And what's happening? The price is actually dropping. Now it's dropping back to a support, a long-term support, and I'm expecting like, okay, the narrative may actually shift. If this is bouncing, that means the demand is coming back in. From where? Who knows? But that's the thought process. Even that category is showing you someone is buying. But I'm like, okay, I'm concerned. If a news pops out saying, okay, this doesn't work, if it's a computer, if it's a mobile, if there is something in that news category which shows you like, no, this is not going to happen, it can start to drop. But what we're observing right now is like you were trending inside this, you broke to the upside. So a big company is now going to run to the upside test this week. had this discussion before. Like if we break up, we are gonna go test this 14% run up, and we are literally observing that at a time when the dollar is low. Agreed. So if you are here looking at this and you're receiving value, please do hit that like and subscribe button. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.